Bird of the day! Yay! Well, welcome everybody to Carvis Twig's Bird of the Day. Yeah, finally. Yo, come on. Come on! You like the crafting. You like the cozy crafting. Nice cozy crafting. Anyway, Carvis Twig's Bird of the Day. So, I was crafting today, and I was like, I want to look for a bird that does crafting. So I did a little bit. Nope, it's not a carpenter bird, but boy, these birds are some of the greatest builders in the bird kingdom. Today's bird of the day is the Sociable weaver. And I know you're looking at him like, well, look at that little guy. It's the cute little guy. It's just a small little finch. It looks like a finch. Well, weavers are not even in the same family as finches, but they got some similarities. Weavers are a small type of finch-like bird, usually found in Africa. These guys are only about 5.5 inches long with about a 7-inch wingspan. So, they're little birds. Real little birds. Tiny little birds, Average weight's only about an ounce. Really small. Interesting thing with these little fellows is that the males and females are almost completely indistinguishable. You gotta get down to their naughty bits before you try and figure out the difference. Although, somehow they know the difference. But, hey, so do we crows. They're a lot like crows. In fact, you're gonna find out more as this goes on. There's a lot that these little guys have in common with crows. And, well, here's an interesting thing about them. Their lifespan, their life expectancy in the wild is 10 years. That's unheard of for a bird this size. Unheard of. How do these little guys live so long? Well, I'll tell you. They found a way. They have found a way. Now, these little guys, they're bug eaters. Almost entirely their diet's considered bugs. They'll eat some grains and stuff, mostly like grass seed and stuff. But, boy, these guys love bugs. Love to forage around the ground and on trees for bugs. Tasty, tasty bugs. As you can see, these are birds that are limited to a pretty small part of Africa. Down there in the southern bits of Africa, as you can see there in those little orange areas. So, not a really widespread bird, non-migratory. They stick around the same place pretty much year-round. And, so interesting information. Well, the interesting thing about these guys is their nests. They build the largest communal nest of any species of bird. This little tiny bird builds giant, bird apartment complexes. It's crazy. These guys will just get together and make it a big group effort and build a giant group home. And I think that's really cool. It's super cool. As you can see there, a whole bunch of them sitting around a little water tray, a little bird bath. And these birds, they stick together. They form big flocks of hundreds, up to even thousands of them. And it's just a community that helps each other out. As you can see there in that bottom picture, those two giant brown lumps are nests. And that's a decent-sized tree. It's a big tree. And look at it. Look, those nests are huge. They're huge, like condominium things. It's great. They have found in more recent years that these birds do tend to flock to, trees that are, very tall without a lot of branches until you get high up, or even on telephone poles. In fact, they've become quite a nuisance for some local, because they will build these giant nests on telephone poles, and they will cluster up and really be kind of there just doing what they do, filling up that whole nest area. And they can cause a lot of weight issues, because when it rains, these things can absorb a lot of water and become very, very heavy. Oh, yeah. And they have found that some of the nests, the thing is, they don't migrate, and they live in big communities. So as the older birds die out, the younger birds replace them, but they use the same nest. And the nest just continues and continues with some renovations here and there, adding bits to it. But they have found that some nests have persisted for over 100 years, being used by the same community as new birds replace the older dying birds, and it just keeps going and keeps going. And I think that is super, super cool. They stick with it. Now, Now here's one of the coolest things about them. Much like the crow, this is a bird where inside the community, birds who are not the parents of the chicks will absolutely help out raise baby chicks. The flock, the adults will go out, they'll gather bugs and insects and food, and they'll all come back, and they'll all make sure that all the babies in the nest are well fed. And they really, really help eat them. And not eat the bugs, not eat each other. So they are very, very community driven. In fact, this might be the most community driven bird I've ever seen. I mean, that's like more so than crows, more so than most kind of penguins. I mean, lots of birds live in big flocks, but these ones, they live in big houses. They feed each other's babies, and they build the houses all together. It's really cool. And these nests are a technological wonder. The insides of them have nice little tunnels, and insides of them, it stays really well insulated. So a lot of these are in kind of more of a desert atmosphere. So, you have those high swings in temperature from the daytime to nighttime. But they found that the inner parts of the nest stay really well thermally regulated. They don't get too hot at the day, and they don't get too cold at night. They've also found that the older birds, the veteran birds, they tend to take some of the better spots on the inside of it. It's kind of like, the village elders get the nice spots in there. It's pretty cool. But they've also found that other animals will hop into the nest, and they're usually not too territorial about it as long as those are, as long as the animals coming in are not predators. So, other birds can come in. They've also found that sometimes some reptiles will live in there. And also they found colony of insects can go in there, which actually kind of is useful for the birds because it's like, oh, sure, you can live here. You just keep populating. Never mind that we're eating half of you. So, yeah, it ends up being very beneficial. The insects have a good place to breed, and the birds have a regenerating snack source. Yeah, little lizards are the other things in there. Little vegetarian lizards that just need a little safe spot to be. So, yeah, these nests, crazy. And you take another... Oh, wait. They're supposed to be... There it is. Yeah, there we go. That's the one I wanted to show. So there's a closer up picture of bed and breakfast. Yeah, you got it. You got it right, Bentai. But as you can see here, it's like, yeah, real big nest made with lots of grasses and stuff, and lots of little holes for getting on in the inside. These nests are a manufacturing marvel. So I really got to hand it to these little guys. I really do. It's pretty impressive. I really like what they do here. Yeah, what are you looking at? Yeah, it's a grumpy bird. Can't tell if it's a boy or a girl, though, because their colorations are pretty much the same. And their size are pretty much the same. And, yeah, the males will help incubate. And a lot of they actually have kind of like a nursery in the center of these things. So it's like the baby eggs are usually kept in the middle of it rather than near the outside. So the warmth of the inside actually helps incubate them without necessarily needing to have the mother on them at all times. And this is why, for such a small bird, they have such a long lifespan. Because usually, a small bird, its natural lifespan will be about 12 years or so. But because it's a very, very hostile place out in the world for a little bird, it's dangerous. A lot of them just die, and so the life expectancy is shortened thanks to predators. But these birds, by sticking together, by banding together, they have found a way to protect each other and make a nice, good, safe home for themselves, for their babies, and their parents. And that's why they have, for the small little passiform, they got one of the longest lifespans out there. And I say hats off to you, Social Weaver. Hats off to you. So, yeah, okay, I accidentally put that one after Corvus's stats. So my thoughts, I gotta say, the Social Weaver, you might be one of my new favorite little passiforms. I didn't know much about you before I researched you for this episode, and I have to say, I'm super impressed. I'm super impressed. I love community. I wish that more species around the planet would follow follow their advice, because when we work together, when we take care of each other, everybody benefits. Everybody's better off by being helpful and working together to create a good community. Also, I missed a hydrate. I'm going to do that quick. Thanks for the hydrate, Kyoko. So yeah, I gotta say, the Social Weaver, top tier little bird. I mean, not Corvid tier. I don't know if I would give these guys an honorary Corvid. Maybe. But here's the thing. It's like they're in... Okay, so what does it have to be for an honorary Corvid? 1, gotta be smart. 2, gotta have kind of that mysterious air about you. 3, gotta have good community. And, he's has still 4th one, I think. But unfortunately, these guys aren't the most intelligent birds. But they have figured out the social thing. So the social thing is pretty good. They're almost there. They're almost honorary Corvids, but they're not quite there yet. They don't have the mysteriousness about them. They're just good guys and girls. And for sure, non-binary. They're just great. The Social Weaver, love them, and I hope you'll love them too. And I hope you love learning about them, because it's a bird that doesn't really get a whole lot of press here around in my area. So I gotta say, I wish these birds were a little well known. They're doing good, doing healthy, happy birds. I like them a lot. I hope you like them too.